44 BC. The Roman Senate is in session. 60 men are in on a plan. The plan is to kill Julius Caesar. The plan involves knives. 23 knives, to be exact, distributed among 60 men who have never coordinated a murder before, in a room with limited exits. It will not go the way they expected. Here is what they expected. Stab Caesar. The Senate applauds. The Republic is saved. Everyone goes home. The crowd cheers. History remembers them as heroes. Here is what actually happened. Julius Caesar spent most of his career being wildly, embarrassingly more successful than anyone wanted him to be. He conquered Gaul, roughly modern France, Belgium, and parts of Germany, in 8 years. He crossed the Rubicon, which was illegal, marched on Rome, which was also illegal, and then won the subsequent civil war, which made the legality somewhat moot. By 44 BC, he had declared himself dictator perpetuo. Dictator for life. In a republic specifically designed so that no one person could have permanent power, this was considered a fairly serious problem. Gaius Cassius Longinus considered it a very serious problem. Cassius had fought against Caesar in the Civil War, been pardoned, and apparently decided that being pardoned by a man you tried to kill was humiliating enough that the man needed to die. He recruited his brother-in-law, Marcus Junius Brutus. Brutus was Caesar's personal friend. Caesar trusted Brutus. This did not deter Cassius. By February 44 BC, they had recruited 60 senators into the conspiracy. 60 people keeping a secret in ancient Rome, where there was no confidentiality, no secure communication, and where a man named Artemidorus had somehow obtained a written list of every conspirator's name. He tried to hand it to Caesar on the way into the Senate. Caesar pocketed it unread. He would later be found with it, still folded, still unread, still in his hand. The night before, Caesar's wife Calpurnia dreamed that the roof of their house fell in, and that Caesar was stabbed in her arms. She begged him not to go. A soothsayer had told him to beware the Ides of March. The Ides of March was that day. Caesar's friend Decimus Brutus, one of the conspirators, told him that the soothsayer was a fraud and that skipping the Senate would make him look cowardly. Caesar went. The Senate met in the theater of Pompey, in a meeting hall at the base. At the feet of a statue of Pompey, the general Caesar had defeated in civil war. The room had one entrance. The conspirators had arranged for a man named Julius Caesar to approach Caesar with a petition asking that his exiled brother be recalled, and to refuse to take no for an answer. This would hold Caesar still. When Cimber grabbed Caesar's toga and would not let go, Caesar said, in Latin, something that translates roughly as, "This is violence." It was about to get worse. Casca struck first, aiming for the throat, missing, cutting the shoulder. Caesar grabbed Casca's arm. Then the rest of the 60 moved in. Ancient sources differ on exactly what followed. They agree that Caesar was stabbed 23 times. They agree that only one wound was fatal, a single stab to the chest. They agree that at some point, surrounded by former colleagues driving knives into him, Caesar pulled his toga over his face so he would not be seen dying. The conspirators stabbed each other in the confusion. Cassius wounded his own hand. Several senators who were not in on the plan fled in terror, which caused the crowd outside to panic, which caused most of Rome to assume some kind of coup was happening, which caused the city to lock down. The conspirators stood in the Senate, covered in blood, holding knives, waiting for the applause. The applause did not come. Mark Antony, Caesar's most loyal general and co-consul, had been intercepted outside the Senate and kept busy by a conspirator. When he heard what had happened, he fled the city. The conspirators marched to the Capitoline Hill, declaring the tyrant dead and the Republic restored. The crowd watched in silence. Then the crowd went home and locked their doors. The will was read. Caesar had left his gardens to the Roman people and 75 silver coins to every citizen. He had also, privately, adopted his 18-year-old great-nephew, Octavian, as his son and heir. The conspirators had not planned for this. Mark Antony gave the funeral speech. He read the list of honors the Senate had voted Caesar. He read the oath every senator had sworn to protect Caesar's life. He displayed Caesar's toga, still bloody, still showing the 23 cuts. The crowd set fire to the forum. Within 2 years, the conspirators were dead. Brutus and Cassius died at the Battle of Philippi, fighting Antony and Octavian, the 18-year-old heir they had not considered. Most of the remaining 60 were hunted down in the following months. Cicero, who had not been part of the conspiracy but had publicly celebrated the assassination, was executed. His hands, which had written speeches against Antony, were cut off and displayed in the forum. The republic the conspirators had killed Caesar to save was formally dissolved in 27 BC, when Octavian renamed himself Augustus and became the first Roman emperor. Julius Caesar had wanted to be king. They killed him to prevent it. His adopted son became something considerably more powerful than a king, and ruled for 45 years. The knives accomplished nothing. Every man who held one died violently. The thing they were trying to stop happened anyway. Only now it was permanent. The lesson the Romans took from the assassination of Julius Caesar was not that dictators should be challenged. It was that assassinating dictators does not work if you have no plan for what comes next. 23 stab wounds. And no plan. That was the entire conspiracy. History has been repeating this mistake ever since.